This is Josh. Ooh, wow. And we're going to review the Royal Rumble 2023, which is the 35th Royal Rumble of all time. And this took place in San Antonio, Texas. It just happened to be Sheamus' birthday. So happy birthday to my Irish pub. I mean, bro. Maybe one day we'll go have a brewski and you can show me how to work out like everybody else. So if y'all watched the show, you would notice how it was an amazing show. Kicked ass. Can't remember the last time I've seen a Royal Rumble this good. I don't even know how to rank it among other ones. That'll be for another video. But I think from top to bottom, this show is just excellent. I mean, I was excited that they kicked it off with the Men's Royal Rumble. It was just the perfect way to start it. Hot crowd. Put the best thing on first. And then from there, I think it just cruised and nothing sucked. Everything was at least average or better. Like, I didn't come across anything that bored me or anything that made me cringe. And they just took up their quality of entertainment to the next level. I mean, damn. I mean, if you guys didn't see the show, go check it out. This review is just for those who either want to hear how it went, the highlights, or if you watched it and you want some more in-depth analysis. I'm going to break down the show from beginning to end. I'm going to give you some of my comments. I'm going to break down some of my perspectives on characters. And I'm going to share with you my favorite parts of the show. And we're gonna begin. So you're watching the Aquaman guy, the real Aquaman. So in the beginning, was that Kid Rock? At first I thought that was Kid Rock on the show, and it took me a minute to realize it was some guy. What they named this guy. I'll come across his name later, because they had a concert. They had a music video right in the middle of the show, like 2/3 of the way through. They threw on they put out their best song, which is called "Sold Out," and it was that's right, it was Hardy. So they seem to be really popular in Texas. They had that like rock country swag to them, and it was a good song. But to be honest, I didn't really feel like it. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it didn't feel like it fit. Like, the crowd seemed really hungry and anxious for wrestling, and we don't want to hear music unless it's in somebody's theme song and someone's on their way out to the ring. Anyway, it wasn't Kid Rock. It was some guy, lead singer from a band named Hardy. No relation to the Hardy Boys. So as the show begins, you hear the commentator. Well, first off, you got what's his name? Which I thought would be a cool surprise if he was in the Royal Rumble. But blonde commentator who just did an amazing job at WrestleMania last year, Pat McAfee. I thought it'd be cool if he was in the Rumble, but I'm glad he just commentated. You know, he had his moment at WrestleMania. Maybe he'll have another one this year. But, you know, why push it, you know? So he came out to open up the show. Royal Rumble gets kicked off. Men's Royal Rumble, like I mentioned earlier, right away. I mean, this was like perfect. So as the show starts, Gargano is one of the original entrances, and you have one of the commentators is like, "Oh, he's taking his time getting to the ring," and next thing you know, they show Gargano jogging to the ring, and I'm like, "All right, well that's a misfire," but you know, he had a pretty good run in the ring. You know, it's nice to see him back. He had a shoulder injury. Haven't seen him in a while. And then you have, in the beginning, some of my notes are a little, like the show is just getting started, so there's a few things here and there that I didn't grab, but it'll pick up later with more consistency. The New Day come in the ring, 2/3 of the New Day. As you know, Big E is injured. We haven't seen him in a while. We wish him the best. But you got Xavier Woods, and you had Kofi Kingston get in there, and they tease that they're gonna battle each other, and then they end up doing this like wheelbarrow 69 where they start smacking each other's ass, It was kind of funny, kind of like awkward sexual, like they're smacking each other's butt like bangos or bongos, and then they end up getting like attacked, and it turned out to just be like just a funny spot where they never competed against each other, because they're like a comedy tag team, you know. Like I remember when the Hardys did it, and it made sense a little bit because they're a little rougher and like a little less like you know, they're not as, their IQ isn't as high as like the New Day, like as far as just being smarter in the ring, you know. And they, so the fact that they didn't fight each other, it would have been out of character for the New Day to fight each other, so they didn't, and they just they had that little fun spot. The first elimination was The Miz, and he got his ass kicked. Like Sheamus was in the ring at this point, and then you got Drew McIntyre, and they're just they're beating the shit out of him. Like I mean, like those long arm clubs. They you know, they both tag teamed on The Miz. They had him on the outside of the ropes, and his arms are caught under the ropes, and he's stuck. And they just start bombarding him with arm, like just like that signature Sheamus like arm beat over the chest. And Sheamus and I was about to say Cesaro, but Sheamus and McIntyre just hitting him with a club on each chest, and then he just falls off the edge and he's done. So he's the first one eliminated. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't care. He's got all these accolades, but yeah, nonetheless, he's the first one out. And then later on, you get Drew McIntyre eliminating Karrion Kross, which made his way in the ring. He's either 5 or 6. We're about a third of the way through. My comments so far, it's real hard hitting wrestling, and these guys are just like beefy. It's like a beefy, that first 10, you know, 7 out of 10 of those guys in that first third of the Rumble, they're beefy boys, man. These guys were like freaking heavy, buff, like just powerhouses, man. So you get a lot of that early on. Kofi has this spot where he gets thrown out, and it looks like he's trying to do his Kofi signature spot where he like one leg doesn't like hit the ground, and he lands on a chair, and one of his legs doesn't hit the ground, but he like gets thrown out onto a chair, and they he ends up like, I think they throw away the spot because it's just too jumbled and like it just didn't work out very well, and he just said, I'm eliminated. I don't remember anything else. His leg didn't hit the ground. And but then later on, I think they just counted him out because it was just it didn't go as well as planned when he landed outside the ring. So Kofi's eliminated. They never follow up on that. So we're at number 12 at this point. You get Brock Lesnar. He comes in, crowd's excited. He gets in there, wreck shop. He eliminates probably 3 or 4 guys, and the next thing you know, let's see. Anthony Dawkins made his way to the ring, and I swear his jersey is representing Sacktown. It looked like that old school, like black and white and purple. I couldn't make it out that well, but it looked like it almost said Sacramento on the chest. And I've seen those guys wrestle in NXT out in Sacramento, California before, but I don't think they're from there. But I like their jerseys nonetheless. And so Bobby Lashley comes in and he eliminates Brock, and everybody's shocked, but Bobby Lashley owed him one. Like, he got him last year. Like, he basically pretended like they were friends, if I'm not mistaken, and then tossed him out. So Bobby Lashley's pissed, and he's like, I'm gonna go ahead, and he just clotheslined him right over the top rope. Like, it didn't take much. Clotheslined him over the top, and yeah, just like that, Brock's out. He gets mad. He starts tearing up the place. He ends up getting. He sees Baron Corbin getting ready to get in the ring, and yeah, like I heard in the commentary, wrong place, wrong time. Brock's on his way out. He's just like, I'm gonna go ahead and F5 Baron Corbin, and then Brock lays him out before entering the ring. Seth Rollins comes out at number 15. He go ahead and grabs Baron Corbin, throws him in the ring, and then we're halfway through the match. Seth's attire looked great. His tights, his boots, He looked like a turquoise metallic blue. Looked freaking awesome. His boots and tights looked freaking great. Number 16, you got famous Otis, like the cookies. Freaking big boy, man. I mean, you guys have seen him, dude. Like he looks like, let's see, like he probably looks like if you put Butterbean and George the Animal Steel together, bam, you get Otis. Freaking like, you know, he's like a comedy show. He didn't do the worm or nothing. He used to do the worm, but nonetheless, he's number 16. Booyaka, booyaka, 619, booyaka, booyaka, all the time. You hear Rey Mysterio's music, but he never comes out. So he has got this thing going on with the Judgment Day, whooping his ass, and he's like not able to perform. So his music plays, he doesn't show up. So between that time, Seth took out Lashley. So you got, you know, Lashley eliminated by Seth. Lashley eliminates Lesnar. You got all these big names getting eliminated early, but not before they do a little bit of damage. Number 18, Son of the Mask. No Mysterio. It's a mystery. It's a Mysterio. We don't know where he is. He never came, but his son shows up, and he's part of the Judgment Day, and he's there, and so at least we get him with some of the same signature movesets as his dad. So like I mentioned earlier, very very beefy Rumble. Otis is out by Sheamus and McIntyre. They throw his big butt out, and you know, who else would have done that but those guys? Other than those guys, who would have gotten out? You know, so he's out. Gargano for a minute there looked like he was gonna be the Shawn Michaels of the Rumble, going for the Iron Man of the Rumble, but then he does get eliminated a few minutes later. I'll get to that in a minute. Number 19 was Elias, the alter ego of LA Knight. I don't know about you guys, but like when I first saw LA Knight, I thought it was a repackaged Elias, and then I saw Elias later on, like still with the guitar and long hair, and I'm like, it looked like Elias cut his hair, got bigger, and ditched the guitar, and I'm like, look, it's just Elias, just repackaged. But then they're both out there. I swear, if you look at their faces, they look related, but yeah, totally two different guys. Who would have thought? They look for a minute there, you know, they repackage guys all the time overnight if it ain't working, especially with Triple H taking over. They put a lot of the repackaging was just taking a lot of these wrestlers that Vince McMahon screwed up from NXT and put them back to the character they're supposed to be. That's more familiar, they're more not just more familiar for the fans, but more comfortable for the wrestlers. So they get them back in their normal, I don't want to say gimmick, but their normal character. And I noticed there wasn't really any all those characters that you thought were kind of weird in with Vince and Gorilla. Like, it seems like Triple H fixed all that. So all these characters, none of them were cringe or none of them were like, they didn't feel unnatural. So that's a plus. It just felt right with everyone coming out. So Elias honky tonks it with the guitar and smashes it on Sheamus and McIntyre. But then they Sheamus and McIntyre end up clearing house. Finn Balor's number 20, another member of the Judgment Day. So at this point, there's a lot of culture in the ring. You got Finn Balor, Irish, Sheamus, Irish. You got Drew McIntyre, Scottish. Who else you got in there? I mean, yeah, sure. Son of Mysterio, Son of the Mask. You know, he's Mexican. You got. There's a variety. It felt like a lot of foreigners in the ring, which is cool. So notice that at that point there was a lot of that going on. So here's Gargano getting eliminated finally. He had a good run, but not an Iron Man match. Probably like 20 minutes he did, but he gets eliminated by Balor and who's that? Excuse me for having to look at my notes. Oh yeah, I call him Mean Stereo. Like he's just it's hard to put your finger on like what he is at this point. He's just angry at his dad and he's rebelling and going into the Judgment Day. But for now, I think I like Son of the Mask. So Balor and Mean Stereo throw him out. No more Gargano. 21 Booker T. Oh boy, we got Booker T. Nice moment. You got to get at least one nostalgic wrestler back in there for like a little Royal Rumble moment, right? At least one. I'm glad they don't overdo it too much and they just let the new wrestlers come in and shine. But you got Booker T. He came in at 21. It was fun. Got a nice pop. I think he eliminates somebody like insignificant. Can't remember who the heck it was. But Booker T does the spinneroonie, and everyone's just kind of like nostalgia mode. And then Gunther, keep wanting to call him Gunther, but Gunther throws out Booker T when he's not looking. Everybody gets kind of pissed off, but Gunther just says like bye, see you later. Not affected by the crowd. Match goes on. Number 22, Damian Priest. And I think he's looking like a member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know if anybody else thinks that, but I look at this guy and I'm like, he looks like he could be right up there with Flea and is it Andrew? I'm trying to remember the lead singer's name to Red Hot Chili Peppers, but he absolutely looks like he'd fit right in with those guys. 23, Montez Ford. You got the one half of the Street Profits. Ford almost gets thrown out, and then he ends up skinning the cat. Someone's got to skin the cat during the Rumble, like a full-on like just reversal, like a proper skin the cat. Montez Ford pulls that off, and then gets thrown out clean. 24 Edge. So we got goodbye Priest and Balor after 3 freaking awesome spears by Edge. So those 2 guys are gone because he's had his problem with that group. So he takes out half of Judgment Day. Edge and Seth face off for a minute there. You get this moment where you think maybe they're gonna start feuding, and then he gets ripped out. And then Seth, and he gets ripped out by the 2. So their moment gets kind of divided because their Rumble was just too much going on. They had like maybe 5-7 seconds to stare down, and then that was it. Edge's hair's cut, by the way. It looks different. He's got like, I don't want to say a faux hawk, but like a really tight fade over his ears, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's Edge. Edge looks different." So like everyone's so happy to see Edge, but his long hair's gone. Kind of like when Shawn Michaels cut his hair. It's like a shock. It's like part of like you expect to see that with that character. And when it's not there, you're kind of sad, but you're still happy to see them. But it takes you a while to get used to their new look. So we got 25, Austin Theory. Number 26, Famous Omos. 26, Brawny Strowman. Freaking looking huge. Real glad Triple H brought him back. Back in 2017, not to get too sidetracked, but I thought Braun Strowman and the Roman Reigns stuff was the only thing keeping the show watchable during that time. The Raw episodes around that era when Strowman was championship material, but they never put the belt on him. They gave him the Lex Luger treatment. So he's back, and I think is a good hand, basically. So Brawny takes out Famous Omos, excuse me. 28 Ricochet. Anyone remember the racing car Ricochet? Leave it in the comments. It was like a double-sided race car. It's like purple on one side, orange on the other. It never is supposed to be able to crash unless it somehow lands on its side. But Ricochet, it was like, I got one for Christmas one year as a kid, but never heard anyone talking about it. It was hot for like a year, I guess I got bored with it, but I've never seen it anywhere else. Anyway, um, 29 was Paul Logan, 30 Cody Rhodes. So his theme song, freaking amazing. Don't take my lemonade, don't take my Fritos. He's looking freaking great, man. He had time off because of an injury, and it's not his fault. But I heard in the press conference he felt really bad for having to take that time off because he never gets hurt. But I mean, we all seen like there was no other choice. He needed to take the time off. But good thing his popularity picked right up where it left off. He might have lost like a little bit, but once he got moving around in the ring and started like performing again, everybody remembered why he's great. So there's this moment with Logan Paul and Ricochet where they each are on both sides of the ring, and they both are on the outside of the ropes. So they each simultaneously jump up on the ropes and then jump across at each other and do a double clothesline in mid-air, right in the middle of the ring. And they timed it perfectly. They double clothesline each other, bam, take each other out. They both bump perfectly on the mat. It looked freaking awesome. It reminded me of that spear that Edge did to Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania 17, I believe. Similar to that. I mean, not quite as extreme, but man, this thing was like one of the best Royal Rumble moments I've ever seen. Just, they timed it perfectly. Logan Paul is, he just came out of nowhere, and I think he's going to get some gold around his waist at some point in the future. Might take a little while, but at some point they're going to put a belt on him because he looks great out there, and he looks like he belongs out there. So the guys take each other out. Crowd, commentators just couldn't believe what they just saw. They replayed it a couple of times. It couldn't have gone better, and it was great. So Strowman gets eliminated. Ricochet's out. Theory's out. Double pedigree by Seth and Cody on Gunther. So Seth does a pedigree first, and then Cody turns around and does a pedigree to him because he's just won't go away. Like Gunther, by the way, I know I've been a little bit out of order with the Rumble, but if you've seen it, this is just putting the pieces together, which you already seen. Gunther drew number 1. This guy's still in the ring. He's still kicking ass, and they still got to keep putting him down. So they put him down temporarily so they can have their moment. Seth and Cody facing each other, but the next thing you know, Logan Paul throws out Seth Rollins. And I think Cody's kind of pissed, because they want to continue their rivalry, even though I think Cody beating him 3-0 is enough. You didn't have to eliminate him from the Rumble as well. Cody ends up eliminating Logan Paul as a receipt for eliminating Seth, because I think he was kind of pissed in a way. So like, hey, I might have wanted to throw him over the edge, and you got to it first, so I'm gonna throw you out instead. I noticed Logan started pointing before he got thrown out. He was pointing at the WrestleMania sign. Thought it was good booking. His clothes. I'm trying to remember the color of the WrestleMania sign. I think it was white and gold. And Logan was wearing white and gold, and they matched colors. So when I saw that, it's a kind of a tease for could Logan Paul win this thing? No, not likely. But when you see a character their gear match some theme of the pay-per-view, it's either a giveaway that they might be winning this thing, or it's just a kind of a distraction that hey, he's just a deterrent that hey, he's not going to win, but we just want you to think he might. So just a little something I noticed there. I wonder if anyone else noticed that. So we're down to the last 2 at that point. Those were your final 4: Seth, Cody, Gunther, and Logan Paul. We're down to Gunther and Cody, and these two just kick the shit out of each other. You think it's over a few times, and they're still fighting. Um, the main thing is Cody's chest is getting battered by Gunther, and he's just smacking the other opposite side of his chest. Just making that thing just swell up, kind of like it's like, oh wow, is he gonna like? And I think he's hitting both sides. Like he did his homework, and he knows Cody's vulnerable on the I think it was the left pec, and he ends up like just battering him, and that's like Gunther's specialty, just with the chops, and he ends up just looking like Cody's just getting beat down, man. And Gunther is, I didn't mention, he is the Intercontinental Champion, and Cody knows the IC Championship very well. So I thought that was pretty cool that you got both guys that have never went higher than the Intercontinental Championship in WWE fighting for a legit shot at the WWE title. And Gunther, man, like even in the press conference with Cody, he just keep putting Gunther over, and for good reason. So here's something I thought was great. So for anyone that watched wrestling in the 80s, I think that what you got today, what this Rumble represented for me, before I tell you who won, is Cody versus Gunther. Totally gave me Hogan versus Andre vibes, and Seth versus Cody gives me Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan vibes. And it's great that they got characters like that hold up, and of course they're not as large as They're not as larger than life like those guys, but they still have that same spirit and demeanor. And it dawned on me. I was like, oh, Seth Rollins, he's our Macho Man. Cody's our Hogan, and you got Andre. And as soon as I looked at Gunther, I was like, this is like an Andre the Giant that's like more mobile, more endurance, and just just a little bit more of a total package. And then you got so those guys are totally reminding me of the classic characters, and that's pretty cool. So you got Cody flipped by Gunther, signature move to Gunther by Cody, include Shattered Dreams to Gunther. So Cody wins, baby. All roads to WrestleMania. It basically came down to finally Cody Rhodes hitting the crossroads and able to clothesline him over the rope. But it looks like they teased it several times, like it was going to get him. He did the signature fall to the ground, punch him, slap him. He did like the springboard kick to Gunther. Gunther had him on the ropes a couple of times. I mean, this thing just went on a little longer than I expected, and but eventually Cody pulls it off. And I like someone had a sign that says "All roads to WrestleMania," all roads lead to WrestleMania. And yeah, Cody's win was just awesome. A little predictable, but predictable is not bad, as I've heard. And a lot of times predictable is good, because just because you know who's going to win doesn't mean like it's any less entertaining. Because in the heat of it, in the moment, you still like don't know what's going to happen. So Cody won. Friggin' awesome moment. His music goes off, fireworks, point at the sign. The crowd loves it. Getting their winner right, seeing a crowd happy, it's like, dude, I'm watching the show from home. $10? People paying their good money live to go see it. It's anyway. That's not on my notes, but it's real cool to see happy fans at the show with good results from the matches. It's always a bummer to see disappointed fans on TV, because that ruins the viewing experience for us too. So Cody jumped over the rope to exit. I thought that was a nice touch. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I mean, I'm sure it's probably happened, but every last competitor is supposed to go over the top rope until there's one left. And he jumped over the rope at the end to exit. And I thought that was something he did deliberately, and thought it was just pretty neat note to mention. So we'll move on to the Mountain Dew Pitch Dark Piss Break match. Did I say Piss Break? pitch dark match. I'm actually teasing a little bit. This is actually good. Um, so Bray Wyatt, if you saw it, I'm gonna say he looked like a mashup between Rob Zombie and an orc from Lord of the Rings, um, and just not like his original character, which is like a human, um, redneck trailer park guy from the South. And then you had him do the whole other thing with the mask and the, this character was actually kind of is interesting. Like it was something brand new. I don't really know how to define it, but he was just working like other than like imagine if Rob Zombie became an orc, and this whole place was like pitch black except for like glow lights and like um, neon green ropes. So LA Knight and Bray Wyatt go at it, and we don't really need to go in this match move for move, but but Bray Wyatt does get the win, and then he hits him with his sister Abigail, kisses him. I think he took him outside the ring and slammed him into a table. And then threw him in the ring, Sister Abigail over. Match went pretty quick. And then he chases LA Knight all the way to the back. LA Knight picks up which kind of looks like a cheap lightsaber, but it's like a long glow stick sword. And he's chasing, Bray Wyatt's chasing him. And when the match is over, he put on a mask to cover his face. And LA Knight's hitting him with this lightsaber-looking wand, glow stick, and you get LA Knight trying to get away, and he climbs up. He goes all the way to the back, down the ramp, up towards the exit. But there's this little ramp area, this little backstage area. So he's trying to climb over the rail and up over to the next level, and it's looking like a scene from Star Wars Episode 3 where LA Knight has the glow stick and he's holding like a lightsaber and actually has the high ground right over Bray Wyatt, and it looks just like he might as well have said it's over. It's over. It's over Bray. I have the high ground, but he just kept climbing and ends up like slamming him down, and then this character. Freaking, I don't even remember the guy's name, some weird character, his uncle, I don't even want to say the guy's name, it's just, some of it gets a little corny, but like, freaking Bray Wyatt's uncle jumps off the top of this giant stage, and it looks like he elbows LA Knight, but he lands, like it looks like he kind of lands next to him, his arm might have hit him, but nonetheless, probably 30-foot drop. And he lands in the safe preset area where LA Knight's already been slammed into by Bray Wyatt. So they ended with this big old spot with it basically saying the feud's done, LA Knight's toast. And the uncle character, Bray Wyatt, and kind of connected to Alexa Bliss. Gosh, not Uncle. Why do you want to say Uncle Tom? Wow. I should have wrote the name down. You guys know what it is, I'm sure, if you watch the TV show. And they said it a few times during the show. So that feud's over, and they ended in that fashion. So next we got, excuse me. Alright guys, it's kind of late over here. So Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair. So the commentary team mentions this too, that Alexa has the athletic advantage over Bliss. Bianca with, so under the match, Bianca with the RVD-esque offense. She's like bouncing off the ropes, doing backflips. Kind of like she does like a reverse, well not a sunset, no, a rolling thunder. So RVD did the rolling thunder off the ropes, did the somersault, and then jumped in there and did a flip, and then landed on his back first. So she does like a flip, like a Tajiri or a Jay Cutler, not Jay Cutler, yeah, like a handstand spring handstand off the ropes, and then when she comes back on her feet, she does a backflip and lands on you with the backflip. She did that. She missed the first one, and like Alexa Bliss got her knees up, and then she landed the second one with clean the second time. Alexa Bliss looked great in the match. I mean, as far as her appearance goes, she always looks very hot. Let's just be honest. And Bianca Belair always looks great too. I mean, two great looking women going at it. Just saying. Bianca gets the win. It was a pretty good match. You know, they just beat the crap out of each other, and then Bianca ends up just wearing her down, getting her finisher on her. That reverse, it's like the Lex Luger torture rack, but instead of doing the torture, she just throws her over, drops her face first, right, between her legs, turns her over, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and they do a little teaser that like Alexa was saying on Raw that she couldn't beat or doesn't need Bray Wyatt and all that to beat Bianca Belair. She lost, and then on the big screen is a reminder that like, hey, if you had these extra skills, extra powers, maybe you could have got the job done. So Bianca Belair retains onto the Women's Royal Rumble. So you got number 1, Rhea Ripley. I didn't say that. She's your number 1, believe it or not, Ripley. Number 2, Liv Morgan. Looking fine. Okay. Number 3, Dana Brooke in a Barbie outfit. No flip. Like, she used to do a flip to the ring and then flex. She just came to the ring in like a Barbie, neon pink Barbie suit. Commentators mention it. Number 4, Emma. Yep. Number 5, Shayna Baszler. Dishing out damage to most of the competitors when she gets in the ring. Bayley at number 6, it's her. B-Fab, no idea who this is, but B-Fab be gone in 36 seconds. That was eliminated by Rhea Ripley. Roxanne Perez, this chick was lit. Her skills, she did like this, I don't even know what to call it, but like she got in there with Rhea Ripley. And she looks like she's gonna do this Hurricane Rana, but it was like she was like a centipede all over Rhea Ripley's body, and then ends up turning it into like a spin out like arm drag. But it went on like, it was just so cool looking. It's hard to describe. This Roxanne Perez from NXT, freaking lit. Number 9, Dakota Kai. It's them. DC. Io Sky. It's all of them now. All of DC. Damage Control. We'll call him DC. The real Aquaman. We'll call him DC. Dana Brooke and Emma. Gone by DC. Thrown over the top. Roxanne. Gone. She had a nice little mini run, but then she gets thrown out too. Number 12, Natalia's here. Apparently she's coming back from nose surgery. She didn't last long. We'll get to that in a minute. Candice LeRae. She was wearing like a lime green and neon pink outfit. I was going to ask what bar is Candice LeRae, but that's already taken, so what car is Candice LeRae? DC takes out Shayna and Natalya. They're fighting on the edge, and then Damage Control takes them both out as they're fighting on the edge. So Natalya didn't last long. Shayna had a little like 10-minute run or something, but they're both fighting on the edge, and then DC just hits them while they're fighting each other, distracted. Zoe Stark is number 14, which sounds like a Disney Channel program to me. Xia Li, looking like a Soul Calibur character. Soul Calibur 2 to be exact. Candice LeRae's gone. She's going to go to the back and look for Johnny Wrestling. Becky Lynch draws number 16. We're about halfway through the women's Rumble match. DC gangs up on her. They even jump out of the ring to go fight her before she can even get in the ring. They did that to her a couple of years ago too. Same thing. They just they try to fight her before she can get in the ring and try to get her stamina bar down. Excuse me, guys. Megan Megan Fox comes in at number 16. I mean, Tegan Knox. Excuse me. Asuka, looking like a member of Kiss if they were Japanese. She eliminates Megan Fox. I mean, what? Tegan Knox. I gotta get that right. Next at 18, we got Piper Niven. No more Dewdrop. Good call, Triple H. Finally, that was one of those examples of getting the characters right. She's one of them now. She's more like a Scottish, character, and they dropped the whole previous gimmick she had. You can just focus more on her wrestling and less on her goofy character. Number 19, Tamina. So she offers a super kick by Superfly's daughter as soon as she gets in the ring. The first opponent she runs into. Number 20, Chelsea Green. She set a record by getting eliminated by Rhea Ripley. How long was it? I wrote down. Is it there? How many seconds? It was literally seconds. It was like 6 seconds, I think. Like in and out. She's talking shit to the crowd, and next thing you know, she's like, whoop, out. Ripley caught her, threw her out, she wasn't paying attention well enough. She just got thrown her over the edge. Does that whole complain thing, and nope, you're out. That's what it is. So you got Becky eliminated by Bayley, and Bayley eliminated by Liv Morgan. So you get these back-to-back eliminations, the two favorites to potentially win it. Number 21, Zelina Vega, and they're actually promoting Street Fighter 6 coming out in June. I was like, hell yeah, I didn't know Street Fighter 6 coming out in June. So she's a new character in the game. She dressed up as one of the characters. She looked more like a Soul Calibur 2 character, like the girl with the little pink bows in her hair from Soul Calibur 2 with the little daggers that she holds over her forearms. But she looked great. And that's cool that they got her to sponsor Street Fighter 6. And her last name is Vega. It's freaking awesome, or at least her character's last name is. Number 22, Rachel Rodriguez. I like to call her Michelle Jackson. Her face, she looks just like Michael Jackson. And then y'all notice that? They got Michael Jackson in the ring. Just having, in the Royal Rumble, trying to get all these other wrestlers to beat it. Number 23, Mia Yim, Keith Lee's wife. So you got one of those, one wrestler in one promotion, one in another. Mia Yim. Yeah, she's pretty good. It's good to see her in WWE. 24, Lacey Evans. Her new look is appreciated. She's wearing more of a camouflage look versus the sailor red, white, and blue. I know that might have been a while ago, but her new look just looked so much better. She looked more natural, more comfortable, less fake, and just more organic towards the crowd. 25, Michelle McCool. This was cool because she's a hometown girl from Texas. She's the Undertaker's wife, Mark Calloway. And she was sitting in the crowd behind commentary. They addressed her earlier. She's with her kid, I think. And she's they call her in there, and she just goes in there to wrestle. She just jumps over the guardrail. And she's like, oh, I'm 26 or 25. Good thing I'm ready to go. And she just hops in there and then just starts competing. Crowd loved it. Let's see what we got here next. 26, Indy Hartwell. Next from NXT is next. Sonya Deville, number 27. Her look is very nice. Like, that's something I noticed her on Raw and in the show. She's got a great look. Zoe Stark gone, so someone changed the channel on Zoe Stark. I got tired of watching that. Lacey Evans aggressively throws out Vega. Like, she threw her out hard. I mean, like, she was like on the edge of the ring, and they just like tossed her out. Like, I'm surprised she didn't get hurt. Like, she slammed her from the top, and Vega just hit that mat hecka hard. Like, she was like thrown off like a power slam sideways onto the mat. Like, it looked pretty rough actually. And then, you know, it's just Lacey Evans is proud of herself. And there goes Zelina Vega. No one thought she was going to win it, but, you know, it is what it is. Number 28, Shotzi. Angali Shotzi, green hair. She looked like Morgan from what is it? Night Stalkers, Capcom. Me and my serum. Most people know her from Marvel vs. Capcom, or Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And she's also in 3. But yeah, totally. You wouldn't be. I would not be shocked if she didn't get that look from Morgan from Capcom. So Shotzi Greenheart. And speaking of that, it's funny because I mentioned Capcom. They used to call her Shotzi Blackheart. Maybe they dropped the Blackheart because Blackheart's a Marvel character and they can't get the trademark to that without paying for it. So now she's just Shotzi. That's it. Yeah. So interesting there. 29, Nikki Cross. Like, again, no more heroes. I love No More Heroes. Great freaking game. But yeah, no more heroes in wrestling would be great. We don't need heroes. Not actual heroes. The real Aquaman is good at reviewing it, but you wouldn't want to see me in the ring with that gimmick, would you? So yeah, thank you Triple H. Number 30, Nia Jax. They messed up with the countdown. It was like 7, 6, and then all of a sudden Nia Jax music hit. So the show was always a perfect show, and then like it's almost forgivable, but like you could kind of tell like that last countdown to 0, especially with number 30, Nia Jax music hit before they get to 0. So they kind of killed the momentum on like that final member of the Rumble. But nonetheless, it's Nia Jax. So so here's how the Rumble finishes out. Rhea Ripley slams Nia Jax twice. She kind of botched the first one a little, but then the second one she got her with more like a power. What is it called? The pump slam. And then the first one she just kind of slammed her, but like didn't get her up all the way, but still got her down, you know, to make it look like a power slam. Everybody gangs up on Nia. She's in there boasting, and then I think Rhea says like basically she's in a whistle, but it's almost like shh, and then like everybody is left, all 11 competitors at this point. They all gang up on her and throw her out, you know, because they're like she's the threat. Let's get her out of here, and she didn't really have a chance at that point. Michael Jackson says "Beat It" to Lacey Evans, and I'm talking about. What's that girl's name? They get her on the last page. I don't want to go back too far here. But yeah, we're talking about Raquel Rodriguez. I'm just going to call her Michelle Jackson. So she says, beat it to Lacey Evans. Asuka eliminates Sonya Deville. Liv takes out Nikki Cross. Down to 3 now. We got Liv, Ripley, and Asuka. So they all end up on the edge of the ring, on the side, on the edge of their apron, outside the ropes, facing the side, facing the entrance. So they're all like kicking each other, hitting each other. You got Asuka on the left, Rhea Ripley in the middle, Liv Morgan on the right. So what happens is Asuka goes to spray Rhea Ripley. She ducks, hits Liv in the face with this green mist, just like Tajiri used to do. Ripley takes out Asuka as soon as that happens with a kick. So then you just got Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan is still holding on with the green mist, and you think it's almost over here, and it is. But then you got Rhea Ripley coming towards Liv Morgan, she's kind of blinded, but she still has the wherewithal to. She does a code breaker to Ripley, and then she's hanging off the edge of the ropes. So she's like kind of stunned, and she's about to fall off and slip. And so she grabs the top of the ropes. She's hanging there, and it looks like she's gonna slip. And Liv Morgan's kind of blinded, so she moves her way all the way to Rhea Ripley, and then sees her hands, kind of the only thing holding her on to the ropes. She's just hanging onto those ropes, and Rhea Ripley feels her, and sees her hands like getting her fingers pried off the ropes. So what she does is pulls her legs all the way up, grabs Liv Morgan by the neck with her legs, and then flips her over to the apron, with basically doing a Hurricane Rana with just her ankles to Liv Morgan, making her flip out of the ring to the floor in surprising fashion. And there you have it. Ripley wins the match. Crowd's happy. The right person won. And Rhea Ripley's on to WrestleMania. She gets the title shot. It's either Charlotte or Bianca Belair. They always milk these things a little before they choose who it's going to be. You can speculate, or you can just let it marinate for a while, and then, have fun with it later. But Rhea Ripley won. The fans really loved her. Anytime she was almost eliminated, fans would boo and gasp. But she did a freaking great job. Drawing number one, lasting the whole way. And yeah, she's awesome. I'm glad she won. And they got both Royal Rumble winners right in this thing. So before the main event, you get the Hardy Band comes out and did this to play their hit single "Sold Out." And I don't think this really fit well in the show, but it wasn't too long. The song. It was like, 5 minutes or something. So, if you're there live, it might feel a little longer, but they probably had a little time to kill. Cause I think it was the show ran over midnight here, started at 8, so over a 4-hour show. So without the music, it would have ran 4 hours. But it ran over 4 hours because of the music. Good music. The crowd didn't seem that into it. They seemed like they're ready for more wrestling, but it was actually a good song, and it was good. It kind of boosted the atmosphere. So I think the music was a nice touch, because Triple H used to do that in NXT and have a lot of rock bands play somewhere for a entrance, or like some way he'd integrate a rock band into the show. And it would be the theme of the show, and he always found really good music. So I got the live band to do it. Never heard of him before. Good song. I enjoy the instrumentals more than the vocals. So here we go. The main event here. So we got KO versus Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Universal Studios Heavyweight Chocolate Chip. Their 2017 match will likely not be outdone. That's what I thought going into it. I don't know. I'd have to compare the two at this point, because I remember that one being really good. A lot of table spots, but this one was totally different. The story enriched it a little bit more, but the other one might have had more action, more moves. But it is worth to go back and check that match out if you have the network. WWE Network, go back and watch Royal Rumble 2017, and then 6 years ago now, they had a match, and then KO came out on top of that one. That's the one where Chris Jericho, I believe, is hanging above the ring in a cage, but I digress. So they go back and forth with signature moves. This is a typical hard-hitting match between these two. You pretty much know what you're going to get. Cannonball in the corner from KO. Reigns with the apron drop kick. Splash to the outside, and then off the top, by Owens in the ring. These splashes look pretty dang. These frog splashes look pretty impactful. So by the way, in case you didn't know, Paul Heyman was the outside holding the belts. Sami Zayn was also with Paul Heyman, and so you had two of them on the outside of the ring the whole time during the match, by the way. They came out with Roman. So every time Roman would do the, my name is my, he would do the signature spot before he tried to spear. So every time I hear that, I say, my name is Josh. Ooh, ah. So Roman would attempt that once. He always misses the first one, it seems like, and then the second one he gets it. So he speared the ring post the first time, and then the next time he ends up getting him. Uh, See, missed backflip off the top rope after botch from Owens. So Kevin Owens was going to do looked like a flip or something off the top rope. He lost his footing and fell. He fell back first on Roman Reigns, but at least it was a direct hit. And he was able to like brush it off, and they just kept going. In men's wrestling, botches happen. It could have been uglier. At least he landed on him, and it was like in a safe manner. So that happened, but then he got back on the top rope, did a backflip, and Owens then caught by the spear from Reigns, that second one. So this was towards the end of the match. The referee gets knocked out, and Kevin Owens does get the pin, but there's no ref there to count it. He counted to 5 by himself after a stunner, I believe. And then no count, no one there to count it. And then that was the beginning of the end of this match. Like things were just kind of, at this point, it's just the ref was out. There's no limitations on what you can do, no disqualifications until the ref wakes up. So you get let's see here. So Roman asks, once the ref's out, Roman asks Sami Zayn for a chair, and Zayn finally finds a chair, and he hesitates to give it to Roman because he knows he's just going to beat the crap out of KO with it. He hesitates for a second, but ultimately gives it to him. But that little second that Sami Zayn hesitated was when KO came in and hit Reigns with the stunner, and that's when that near fall happened earlier. Roman speared KO through the barricade. So this was after the ref was knocked out. KO ends up rolling to the outside because he gets, I think he gets speared really hard, and he just can't. He knows he's going to get pinned to the mat, and he rolls to the outside. He ends up talking to Zayn out there, and they're like going back and forth with a conversation. Reigns just spears him, like right through this barricade. Like it looked pretty nasty, man. And that's when you kind of tell Reigns was going to take over because KO had his chance to win, but there's no ref there to count it. So KO speared Roman spears KO through the barricade. Head thrown back into the steel steps twice. So Roman just took KO's head and just threw it back into the steel steps twice. The first one looked bad. It looked like it hit his head at an angle. And then the second one, it looked a little better, more like the top of his head. But both of them looked pretty bad. Like even the crowd, like right on the front row, was like, ooh, like. So two of those. And then Kevin Owens thrown in the ring. One more nasty spear, like where he catches him almost sideways, and then he lands awkwardly on the mat, one of those awkward looking bumps where he kind of looks like he got the wind knocked out of him on this final spear. Spear, pin, 1, 2, 3, Reigns retains. So, but that's not it, there's more to the story. So, KO gets handcuffed to the ropes after a beatdown by the Bloodline. So they beat down KO quite a bit. Super kicks, kicking him, just punching him. The whole Bloodline comes out, just beating the crap out of KO. They handcuff him to the bottom ropes, and it looks like he's done, dude. And then Reigns is gonna go hit him with the chair, and Sami Zayn stops him and says, "Stop! Like this is enough. Like no more. Like you don't need this. This is beneath you. He's done. You retain your belts. You know, it's over. You should walk away. So Roman offered Zayn. He gave him the chair. He said, "You should do it." And then he didn't want to do it. And then he argued with Roman a little bit. And then what happens is, as soon as Zayn was like expected to hit KO with the chair, and Roman's to the side, Zayn hit Roman Reigns in the back with the chair, making him drop to his knees in pain and disbelief. And the crowd loved this. And it was like Sammy was like, "Man, Sammy ain't some piece of crap. You know, like this is just going too far." And you know, this is my boy, and like we beat him in a match, and we beat him after the bell. And now you just want to like bust his head open with the chair. So there's a satisfying hit with the chair, and then Roman's pissed. They jump Sami Zayn. They jump in, the whole bloodline jumps Sami Zayn, except for Jey Uso, which sits in the corner, and he didn't like what was going on. He was more siding with Sami Zayn, thinking they're taking it too far. So Sami doesn't put his hands on Jey doesn't put his hand. Jey Uso doesn't put his hands on Sami Zayn, but he just basically says, "I'm done with this." Rolls out of the ring and starts crying and heading to the back. So he's washing his hands with the bloodline because he thinks this is, even though it's his family and his blood, he does not agree with what Jimmy and Solo and Roman Reigns are doing. They're just taking it too far. So Jey Uso goes to the back and just says, "No, I can't. I'm out of here." Kind of like Sami said no. Jey said no, but he didn't get involved in the action. He just walked back to the back. And then, so now the bloodline's down to 3 members. And so then you're left with Sami Zayn just beaten down, shirt torn in the ring. KO handcuffed to the left, handcuffed to the ropes. They're both just beaten down in the ring. The bloodline go down the ramp with one less member, with Paul Heyman and the belts. So they're down to 3 members. And then you find them, the bloodline exits the ring with one less member. And that's your show. That's your Royal Rumble 2023 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And I thought it was excellent, man. I think I give this show a 9 out of 10. I'm not even kidding. Like, I thought it was just exceptional. You know, why would I not give it a 10? There's like slight tweaks, you know, that could have made it a little better. Like the final move from, let's see, the final move from the uncle of, he missed it. You know, they didn't want to show it properly with the camera, but he missed the landing, and he landed next to him. And I'm all about safety, but like if you're gonna do a move like that, you gotta make it look a little more believable than just him landing on a pad. So the uncle character of Bray Wyatt, they botched it a little bit, but they didn't show it, and so I kind of knock off a half a point for that. And then a half a point, they messed up the end of the Women's Rumble, I think, with that countdown. It could have been much more bigger pop for that beep, especially number 30, and they got that countdown wrong. And someone turned on her music with like 7 or 6 seconds left before the countdown to 0 would begin. So it threw off the vibe of the Rumble, and that would probably take off another half a point. But outside of that, I mean, all the wrestling was good, and both Royal Rumble matches were good, both title matches were good. And I would just, you know, just that little issue at the end of the Women's Rumble and the Mountain Dew pitch black match, you know, and the music, I might not prefer that to be in the show, but it wasn't bad. It was just a few minutes, and they had nice little clips in the show about WrestleMania Goes Hollywood, and some old school clips, and some clips that brought you in from the TV shows. Raw and SmackDown. For those who don't watch it regularly, they brought the important clips. So when you're going into these matches, or Rumble matches, title matches, you're a little more familiar with the backstory, so you actually care about the characters a little more. At least you know what's going on. So I'd give it an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. Um, and probably 8.5. You know, maybe that's another thing. Like I said with the music, probably not. It just kind of like dampened the mood a little. Like right in the middle of when the wrestling show was just on and hot. Like I just think putting on a show a song in the middle of the ring, setting up a band in the middle of the ring, and just putting on music during. I mean, if it's over by the entrance, it might be like a little less, you know, time consuming. But they threw on a song, and it just felt. Like it took the mood out a little bit. But I mean, those are just small critiques. So I'd probably give the show 8.5 out of 10. Love Cody winning. Loved the booking. I thought all the outcomes of the matches were correct. I wouldn't have been surprised if Alexa Bliss won, but I'm glad she didn't, because I think realistically, I mean, Bianca Belair would whoop Alexa Bliss, not just in a real fight, but in a real wrestling match. So, to me, the right outcome was Bianca Belair retaining, and so that's great. I mean, with every outcome being what you think it should be, it's you don't have any moments where you feel like they're just screwing with you. It feels like that's a long ways away. You know, back when we just complained about the shows, but you know, let's just enjoy it while it's good, and let's hope WrestleMania is you know, just as exciting, and the road to WrestleMania is also filled with great wrestling and continued storylines that this show progressively told and continued from the TV shows, and they did a great job elevating everything the shows have been, and then working towards these grand shows. So again, this is the real Aquaman, and coming to you at see, it doesn't really matter what time it is, does it? But this is Josh. Ooh, and we'll see you for the next one. Have a good night.